Welcome to day 4 of the Song Creation Challenge. If you made it this far, then you're the only one in the group. There's only one person that made it this far. Pretty crazy out of 15 people that started. Now, I'm not going to beat up on anyone. I don't care. Everyone's got their thing, why they can't do something. It's fine. And I don't expect, everyone to make it or care that much. Most people don't care. They don't care about their music career. They don't care about building a music career. They just say that. And they like making music, and they're hobbyists, and most people are. And I'm not, not against that. That's fine. But if you're here right now, then you are pretty serious. Like you're day 4, which is really like day 5, day 6, because some of these days had 48-hour turnarounds. But today we're going to be arranging our tracks. So you got 48 hours to complete this. This will be due on Wednesday at noon, Pacific Standard Time or before. But I want you to really spend time on this because arrangement is such an important part of making a song. I think great arrangement is kind of a lost art form, to be honest. I was watching a video today about the Grammys back in like 1985 or something like that. And there was, they were talking about and comparing the Grammys from 1985 to the Grammys of, 2025 and who was up for a Grammy and like the songs and all that stuff. And you had like Michael Jackson with Billie Jean and Beat It. You had Lionel Richie. You had like all these really just crazy classic songs, right? And every single one of those songs, what they had in common was the arrangements were just so good, I mean, shit, Billie Jean, like Beat It, those were like amazing arrangements, right? So we're going to be talking about arrangement, and you can kind of pick a style or arrangement you want to do. There's a lot of different ways to do arrangements, obviously, but I'd say for sync licensing, you want to have space, you want to have stops and starts, and I'll show you how to do that and build those out as we go. But also I think you want it to be pretty catchy. So you want to kind of keep to that verse chorus kind of typical pop structure, if you will. So let's just dive in and start to get to work on this because it's really hard to just talk about it and not just do it, So with our arrangement, what we're trying to get to is about, 2 to 3 minutes long. I think modern syncs are, they're pretty short, but they're not too short. And I'm going to delete all the stuff that I did before. I don't need any of this stuff. It's all just like sketches from other stuff that wasn't working. And I'll go to my tempo and I'll delete my tempo. And I'm just going to kind of clean up things a little bit just so I could see exactly what I'm working with. And I have this loop out here. Get rid of that. So really what I'm working with is this, okay? So with our arrangement, we have a few tools in Logic Pro that are really going to help you. Some of my favorites are the marker track, right? Where we can build markers and we can put like intro, verse, whatever. So I'm going to bring that kind of down here a little bit closer. And then you have the chord track. The chord track is really cool because you can put out your chords and that can help you with arrangement as you build different parts. Like for example, if you have a pre-chorus that goes to a different chord pattern or, you go to the 4th, of the scale, chord scale, you go to, you kind of switching things up, then you can just put the chords out on the chord track and that'll kind of help you visualize and see things really easily without having to do this, like go in, double click on the MIDI and be like, what am I playing here? Oh, okay. That is a B, that's an E, E5, and then that one's a C sharp 5, without having to do that, you can actually just put the chords up on the chord track, which might help you, visually. But markers and chords tracks, those are kind of the two that I really like. There's also an actual arrangement track. I don't use that much, but you could use that if you wanted to, right? Like you go in here, for example, and go to the beginning of the song and you could hit arrangement and hit plus, right? And then you could go, okay, this is the intro. This is the, verse, chorus, bridge, outro. So, and then you could even rename these, which is kind of cool. So for example, I could say this whole thing is the intro. Right? And then my vocals are going to come in really like with the verse, I'll come in here, right? Boom, verse 1, right? So this can kind of help you, the arrangement track. I think I don't use this because it depicts different things like the drummer track and stuff. I think that's really what it's for. So if you're using the drummer track and you're using the arrangement track together, those work together. So for example, if I went in and made a new drummer track, here, session player, drummer, And let's just go with like indie rock, right? Go create, and sure, download the sound pack because I don't have it downloaded. But this will actually give you the arrangement of the intro verse with the drummer track. So whatever you put out on the arrangement track, the drummer track will start to follow it. And I think that's really what it's made for, is sort of these AI players. They're not AI players, by the way. This isn't like true AI. It's not artificial intelligence. This is just really like a bunch of presets and, dialing in a bunch of different presets. It's not doing any real AI work. But anyway, that doesn't matter. But I was showing this to you because then you have like an intro. Like, for example, here's what it did for the arrangement here. Right, so what it does is it starts to go along with this this arrangement here. So if I stretch this out and say like that's the verse, and then I pull this over and say, okay, now we're in the chorus, you could kind of see what it just did. Even when I drag that over, it actually copied this whole chunk of my music and pulled it over and duplicated it. So it's kind of a cool thing that you can use in Logic that will really help, I think, make your arrangement really quickly. And I think that's really what it's for. It's for speed, So for example, I'll undo that. Undo, right? And then here, if we just create a new arrangement here, go chorus, right? And now it's not going to copy and like make the chorus for you. But the drummer track, as I bring this out, right now, it'll make a chorus. See how it even labeled it chorus? It'll make a chorus track. So you can do that same thing like here with this, go plus, and then you got a verse. And then this, you could delete that and then come in here and make the plus on this part, right? Just go create pattern or create session player region. And then that'll be the intro. So now it's going to play whatever you have on your arrangement. It will start to play to that, which I think is pretty cool, actually. It's unique way of working with that kind of that track, the arrangement and the drummer track and all that. And I think it'll probably do that with the bass player and everything else as well. So you have a really, like, here's the dance floor bass here, and you go to the plus and it'll make an intro, and you go plus and it'll go verse and plus chorus. So the chord track and the arrangement track are really to work with the player tracks. Okay. So that's usually why I don't use them, because I'm not using like these player tracks. Okay. So, but if you are, and you want to mess around with them and get ideas from them, I highly recommend that. If you're like, anytime you're sort of getting into that writer's block and you're like, man, I just don't know where to go from here. You could just say, hey, I'm going to make a chorus here, or a bridge, or an outro, or you could even rename this and call it pre-chorus, and then have the bass player or something come up with something there based upon your chord track and your arrangement track. So that could help you. Just know that when you're using these kind of things, the arrangement and the chord track, you want to set your signature and your marker, or your signature and your scale, your key. So if your key and your signature isn't really right, then these are going to be funky. It's just going to like make something in C sharp at 4/4 when you're really at 6/8 and you're in A sharp minor or something. You know what I mean? It's going to be totally different. And then you can actually transpose the chords on the chord track and on session player regions and all that. So I'm not going to get too deep into that, but these are really great tools for arrangement. So I was just showing that to you because I think that that's a cool thing. So notice if I delete this verse, it's going to delete my stuff, right? Which is like really kind of shitty, right? So just be careful with that, because now you have your stuff following this arrangement track. So probably in like the setting or something, you can change that. But yeah, you want to be careful with this arrangement track, because that's really what it's doing. Like, for example, I'm going to delete the intro. It just deleted my whole intro, right? So that sucks. But for now, I'm just going to hide the arrangement track, okay? And I usually use marker because this is more of a manual way of doing it. So for example, I'm going to hit marker and we're going to just start to build our arrangement. So we'll say intro, right? And then we're going to come into verse 1. But let's just kind of play this and listen and make sure it flows right. And this is why I have you just kind of come up with a lyric idea and cut some vocals, because it's going to tell you where you want to go next with your arrangement and your chords and everything else. So let's just play it. All right, so I'm just listening and I'm going, okay, this is kind of verse A, verse B part, right? So we'll go in here and just kind of lay out our markers. I'm going to put this at the bottom here, or close to the bottom. And this is a good like kind of intro. I think it's a little long, but like you could just even play around with like just this. Just coming in maybe with a fill, you know, maybe better than this whole build up, because it's like get to the vocals ASAP. I think that's really important in music that's streaming nowadays. It's like get to the vocals, don't make people wait too long. And if they're waiting, you know, what do we got? Like 19 seconds to get to a verse where you actually have a story or something going on. It might get skipped by then, right? And remember, Spotify counts a stream as 30 seconds or longer of a play on a song. So just keep that in mind, because you could be screwing yourself up by having these vocals like wait, and then people like just leave because they're like, this isn't paying off, right? So just something to keep in mind is all I'm saying. All right. Every style of music is a little different. Obviously, in sync music, it's okay to have some like intros and have some vocalises, is what we call like the whoa, hey, you know, those kind of things, and the ooh, you know, it's like vocalese. It's okay to have that because they're like sections that an editor could cut from and use. But when you're making pop music or something that you want to stream well on streaming platforms, you want to probably think about coming in with the vocals ASAP. And a lot of songs nowadays, I think it's very effective to start with the hook. You know, just come right in with the hook, like an intro to the hook. And the hook doesn't have to be with the vocals. It could just be with like background vocals on it or something, right? Or calling to the melody that you have in the hook, something catchy, something that's going to get people's attention and grab it and hold it. But right now I'm going to go intro, and we can always change the arrangement. So don't worry about it being perfect. That's one thing I don't want people to get caught up on in these song creation challenges. Like, so many people drop out of this because they try to make something perfect, and then they're like, oh, I screwed up my song. Fuck this. It's not working for me. It's like, dude, you didn't even make it to day 4. You know, like, you have no idea if it's working for you or not. Like, go through the whole process and then do it again and again and again. You'll get it down, and then you'll be like, oh man, this is way better. I'm making songs so much faster and more efficiently, right? So marker, intro, we're going to go into verse 1, and we're just going to call this verse 1A. And then I'm going to drag this over and call this verse 1B. And that's just because of the way that I have this kind of structured. And I'm thinking also because I don't want it to be perfectly repeated as far as the melody, the vocal melody, but we'll get into all that. This is all just temporary, you know, like I could even just mute the vocals for now. I don't really need them. So now verse 1, A and B. All right, and then we'll come into like maybe a pre-chorus here, you know? And a lot of the times how I come up with different parts. I might just hum, or I might just play piano right here. It's really like up to you how you do it, but I'll hum something first that comes naturally, because I'm always thinking about the vocal and I'm thinking about that lead and how that leads to the next part. I don't want to get too technical with the music and the chords and all that, because sometimes, if you're like really theory heavy, you rely on your theory and you do some chord stuff and you're like, oh, theoretically we could go here and that and this could get spicy and all that. And then you do it and then it like turns into, this isn't a catchy song anymore. Now we're going too many places and traveling too much, and it's just kind of, I don't know, it becomes like confusing for the listener, if you will. But also think about where you want your chorus to go. Like, for example, when I go to my notes here, always have my notes: sync track, energetic, badass for sports, commercial placement, mid-tempo, C-ref from Spotify playlists, right? If I'm going for the idea of, How You Like Me Now sort of vibes, the heavy, which is really like the reference point. This is so far away from that, by the way. It's like just way different. How You Like Me Now is like hanging on like G to D, right? And it's like a borrowed chord, kind of what is it, like D Dorian, Yeah, it's just kind of hanging on that. Boom, ding, 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 ding. Here, I'll show you what I'm talking about, because I'm just trying to capture the feel, and that sound comes from this song, actually. Oh, let a woman be a woman, man be a man, right? This woman be a woman. So it's gone ba ba dum bum bum. Right, it's like that G to the D, probably like a D9 or something. But it's like in the horns, so ba ba dum bum 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 ba dum bum ba dum 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 ding ding ding. That's the that's this How You Like Me Now. It's an interpolation of that song, and it hangs. And what that does is that kind of holds us in this like, this sustained kind of this tension, right? Without the release. So that's what I'm doing. All I'm doing is the tension. It's not at all very similar to that track, but the feel of the tension is. And so when we get to the chorus, we want that release. And when I think about a pre-chorus, I think about just kind of like emptying, coming down, emptying tracks out. Maybe it just going to like a boom, 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 just something that like hangs and then releases when we go to the chorus. So very, very basic. I'm not trying to think of something crazy theoretically. We're not going to go very far, especially if I'm going off this palette. So, and this palette also in the arrangement. Now there was a time, and I'm in, and can't wait till you see how you like. See, so the pre-chorus here just is a drop down. Just how you like me now. So we just go back down. The drums aren't as bombastic. You don't get the snare as much. It's playing kind of a halftime feel. And then it goes back into full time. How you like me now? 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 Remember the time. Right? Very, very basic. So we're not trying to reinvent the wheel here. What I'm thinking about is, where do I go from here? So listening to that reference and always like reminding myself of the reference, I'm going to come back to it and go, okay, it's really just like two chords, right? like 2 chords with like a little bit of a in between. So it's going bump, 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 ba-dump, and then the guitar is going, you know, it's just kind of tickling on that D. You know, it's like super, super simple and basic. So now I'm going to think about like pre-chorus. Just what do I do? Do I just come down and have like just the bass and the drums going? All right, and then I could go from this part, like where it's going, bum, 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 bum. That could even be extended, or it could drop out and just be the bass and the drums, you know, just really simple. So almost like you don't want to go to the ba-na, because that might be like where the chorus actually hits. So you could just extend this. You know, bum, 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 right? So let's just kind of take that idea. We'll keep that. All right. When it says keep, short, and split, we're talking about the MIDI. So I'm just keeping it. So it does come still ahead of the beat where it's supposed to. But here, I'm going to just go in and chop everything that I want. All right. Just right on that downbeat. And then I'm going to take these guys here and just repeat them out. And then we'll mute stuff and get rid of stuff how we need to. Like, for example, maybe the organ doesn't come in until the pre-chorus, and then the piano drops out and the organ takes over, and then we have just the stomp and we don't have the hi-hats, right? We just have... Why is this on? There we go. Boom. So we need to go to that track. This is the drums here. And we're just going to take these hi-hats. All right. And we'll just mute those. And then this would be our pre-chorus. Yeah, I don't like that, you know, so we probably want to just come in right here. And this is like part of process is like listening and going, nah, that doesn't work. This works, that doesn't work. Just start throwing the paint at the wall and listening. Like that's the key, is like listen and feel it out. And even then, the stomps feel too big, yeah? So we might even want to keep the stomps for the chorus. So even here, we can just mute these stomps and go here. Let me mute my microphone. Right? So now we have this kind of like refrain. And maybe even here the bass would change and not be so active. Yeah, I almost feel like just going back down to piano and dropping out the bass. And then the organ can be the thing that hits on the chorus that makes it bigger. And also the drum pattern could get more, you know, we can go a little bit harder on the drums. So there you go, verse 1, verse 1 A, B. And then here we just have like a little pre-chorus. We'll hit here and we'll go pre. And this could all change, by the way, once you start putting in your vocals, but you want to arrange out your track so that you have something and you can start cutting the vocals and moving things around. And also why I didn't like produce up my loop to be like a massive amount of tracks, because this may change and I might want to layer stuff in later after I cut my melodies and stuff and I have my arrangement down. You know, it gives me a lot more room to mess around. But I did want to have like my foundation, you know, my palette, my having all that stuff down, like that's going to be the key, you know. So now we got pre-chorus, and then this is going to go into the chorus. So we'll just go boom, and then that'll go to chorus. And this is also good for editors. Editors are going to want to cut from this, you know. So we'll go to chorus here, and in the chorus, that's where you want to bring in the trigon and everything just like kind of gets bigger, right? So let's go here, grab all this. And even the organ comes in and the stomps and the additional percussion stuff, right? We want the drums to get busier. We want them to feel more double time rather than halftime. And during the pre, we want the drums to sound more halftime. And even on that, like the right? We could just like take that and make it just a stomp. So it's going boom, boom, right? So just on the downbeats on the kick drums. And then that way we have this pattern and this groove, it starts to get busier and busier, especially when we get to the chorus. So now on the chorus, we take these stomps, right? We unlock these. And this is why it's so important that you built out your loop. So you have all these elements to play around with, mute and unmute, etc. And this is the way that, you know, just making sync music, making tracks fast that you can release. It's really important that you just kind of stack up that 4, 8, 16 bar pattern so that you can just mute stuff and take it in and out, and you have all the ideas and all the elements you need for your arrangement. So you kind of want to be in the middle somewhere. You don't want to have too many things where you like fleshed it out like crazy. And then you don't want to have too little things to pull from. So now I have like a good amount of things to pull from for my chorus, for my pre-chorus, for my verses, etc. And now when we come into the chorus here, we can go full on with the pattern for the hi-hats and everything. And yeah, let's just listen to this transition from, you know, verse to pre-chorus to chorus. All right, sorry, I was getting a call I needed to take, but I'm good. Now, getting into this, like you have the chorus and stuff. The one thing that I notice about the chorus is that I do want it to change more, right? And I talked about this earlier about playing the bass line in with like eighth notes, right? So I think I'm going to try that on the verses, and then for the chorus, have the more sustained synth bass. And I feel like that's just going to make it much more dynamic, and it's going to feel like we're going somewhere different, but we're not really going somewhere different. And I think that's just a big trick in production. It's like same thing with this trigon, like save that for the chorus. I also want to save maybe the idea of the hi-hats going faster. Save it for the chorus, right? So here, just go in here and get rid of the hi-hats on the 16th notes and keep them on the 8th notes, right? Right, and now we have the 16th notes changing on the drums. So there, it's going to feel like the chorus got faster, which is one thing I like. It's going, you know, instead of the, you know, little groovy thing. And then on the pre-chorus, we can have it more stompy. So it's just like boom, ka, boom, ka. We might even do like a kind of halftime thing, you know? Right, so on here we might go on these parts, right? Go in here and, right, just kind of. Okay, so let's go take these stomps again, because I think the stomps, maybe just like one of them, could be cool for the pre. Yeah, so see how we're kind of like making things a little bit more dynamic by using specific sounds in specific places. So, for example, mute the drums on the first hit and the third hit, right? On the snares. And then bring in like just the stomps, right? So you have the stomps happening on those hits instead. So for example, like these stomps here, we can switch where they're coming in. So go boom, 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 like that. And then let's hear it. Yeah, and then building that up, that clap, because it's like kind of weak. It's like, you know, that's kind of lame. Let's find, you know, a clap or stack it up a little bit more with those hits. So I think we kind of have this, yeah, just so we have like these three. So this is like this clap, and that sounds like it's going to be that snare, and then we have that clap. So this can be, on the stomps, we can do like the 1, 2, 2, 2, you know, like we can actually repeat that. For example, so instead of the snare hits, we'll do something like this. We'll go boom, boom, right? And then this will be, what do we got? Boom. Just kind of shorten this so I can fit it in here. You know, boom, boom. Right? Something like this. And maybe that's not big enough. Maybe that's not slow enough either, you know, where it's going dun, 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 because that starts to feel like it's speeding up. So I'm going to keep it just on the 4, like the downbeats, you know. So boom, 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 you know. Yeah, I like that. So now with this idea, we can layer it up on the pre-chorus, right? Because now we just have the piano and the stomps, and then maybe there's a vocal thing, you know? I don't know. I'm just going to take, just so I can hear an idea here, I'm going to take these vocalises here and see if maybe this is a cool idea for the pre-chorus, right? So just grab this and go boom, and then unmute it and just listen to it on the pre. Simple, 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 but something to put in there as a placeholder, right? And also give us a vibe that we can kind of mess around with. Like, what is this? You know, like whatever. We'll just keep the O's. Right, so now, just like as an idea here, we have, just listening through, we have the intro, verse 1A, we're 1B, pre-chorus, chorus. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to mute my microphone, but I'm just going to start humming and thinking about melodies over the top of this so I can know where to lead to next and what things are like catching my ears, like, oh, that's not right, I need to fix that, I want to change that, etc. And I highly recommend you do the same thing every time you're arranging something out. Like, try to sing on top of it and try to like hum ideas and melodies. Doesn't need to be lyrics yet, but just like melodies and ideas, because if it doesn't work with your melody, then you're going to want to change the arrangement. Cool. And what I'm noticing is what could be even something that I can mess around with is the verse 1A, getting rid of this refrain where it's not twice as long, because it feels kind of long here. Right, so for example, let's just cut this and cut this, and actually, let's just chop this whole section. Basically, what I want to do is get rid of this, okay? So Command A, and then if I go up to Edit, I can go to Cut Insert Time, and I'm going to say Cut Section Between Locators, okay? So now this verse 1A is going to be an 8-bar phrase, or 6-bar phrase, I'm sorry. And then we're going to go to, which I think will make the whole verse as one, just more dynamic, more interesting. If we give that surprising kind of like 6-bar narrative here, and then it goes to another, what do we got? Like 12 bars or something, right? Let's see. yeah. Oh, yeah. So this is going to be 8 bars. So we'll do like a 6-bar, 8-bar phrase, which I think is kind of an interesting idea. And I'm just hearing it in my head as I hum. So thinking about it in a certain arrangement fashion that's kind of interesting to me is this is really, if you just took the whole thing, you have a 16-bar verse, really, right? But it feels like you have a 14-bar verse with a 2-bar pre-chorus. So now treating this as just like not even verse 1A, B, I'm going to keep it like that because I want it to repeat. So with my melody, for example, just so you can kind of hear what I'm hearing in my head, I'll put down what I'm thinking. And it's just like so simple and basic. It doesn't need to be super fleshed out right now. It just needs to have the pattern recognition for me. And you might want to think the same way as you're writing. Just, I need pattern recognition, you know? Check. So think about, man, how can I have a pattern that kind of repeats itself, right? That's all I'm thinking about. So I'm going to just cut something real quick. Whoa. Whoa. Oh, oh. Hey, hey, yeah, yeah. Yeah, 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 yeah. Hey, yeah, 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 yeah. Okay, okay, okay. Bop-a-doo-ba-ding, baby-ding. Terrible melody so far, but giving me some sort of guidance. It's like a roadmap as far as I'm concerned. You know, it's like, oh man, that was a shit melody. I did not like that at all. But you got to get the bad stuff out, and it will give me somewhat of a roadmap to mess around with as I come back into the verses and chorus, right? So let's hear and just kind of map that out. So hopefully you can kind of hear there's a roadmap there where we're repeating these sections like. You know, da 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 da. da 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 da, and then coming back in da 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 da. But then at the end of this, right now we have a place to kind of explode to. Again, I do not like this vocal melody. I'm just checking. I'm checking to see if this idea for the arrangement works. And it's interesting to me, and I will definitely be able to do some cool shit with the melody now that I have kind of that perspective on it. But it's not good. Like for me, I'm like, no way. You know, sometimes your first melody you ever even cut is like the best. And then sometimes you're like, that is the most trash melody, and you have to really work for it. And then you come back and forth into sessions with vocals and melodies, and then you finally one time just lock in on something you're like, oh my gosh. And you always want to pay attention to that thing that you lock in on that gets you excited. You know, don't just jump on the first thing and be like, yeah, that's good. I like that. I'm good. You know, like, you know, that's the ego talking. Don't let the ego take over. Serve the song. Always make sure the song is getting what it needs. Always, 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 always. Like, think about the song first. Is this the intention of the song? Am I making something that's badass that's going to sync for a commercial? Is it going to be anthemic? Like, whatever. All right, so that's really the name of the game. Like, go through, arrange everything, get it to, 2.5 minutes long. Right now I'm at like 1 minute, 16 seconds. If I wanted to just fast, like, arrange this out, I would say double the chorus, right? So I'd take this B-ish, and just to show you like how fast you can really arrange your shit. Because it's just so funny how many people quit this challenge because they're, let's be real, like they're being perfectionists, but really at the same time, it's just the ego game, man. It's like, you just need to get the shit done and move to the next part and just keep working on it as you work on it. Like, that's the key to making a song. That's the key to finishing shit. And if you want to finish stuff, you can't just like quit halfway through or a quarter of the way through, you know? This is part of a process. A process takes working the fucking process. All right? So work the process and trust it. I've done this many, many, many times. So here's a verse 2, right? So now we're at 2 minutes, 10 seconds. And then we'll go to, again, we'll just take the pre-chorus here. Oh, I think we already got that actually in there. So let's grab the chorus here. And if you want to make these loops easier to grab, just grab all that and then hit equals. And that will make a region for you, right? So you can grab that easily. Same thing here, like just boom, equals. All right, if that's something you want to make a lot simpler for you to grab, just a little tip for you, so you don't have to do this kind of stuff, right? Where I'm holding down Shift and clicking the additional kind of blocks that I want to bring over. All right, and then let's go here, and then there you go. Now I've arranged out a 2 minute, 51 second song, right? And then on the outro, we want to hit a stinger. So we'll hit like just the downbeat, downbeat kick, whatever. So go like this, go boom, boom, boom. I'm just going to go Command C, all right? I'm going to select the tracks. I'm going to go to the end here, and I'm going to hit Command V. And that is going to be our downbeat there. All right? 2 minutes, 52 seconds long. I've arranged my track. Obviously, there's way more to it than this, and I don't want to simplify it for you, but I do want you to understand, like, I've just arranged a track. I can now cut vocals on it, okay? And then I could keep chiseling away and adding stuff and taking stuff away and working on stuff as I go. But that's the simple way of just like, boop, it's done. I've arranged something, right? And you could literally just go boom, 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 and we're gonna go deep, right? And we'll go doop. And now you have, verse, this would be like verse 2, 2A, right? And this would be verse 2B. And then you got pre and then chorus out, right? You could say, hey, right here, I want, right after the chorus, I want to do like a post-chorus. You could say, hey, this chorus 1 should only be half the length, right? Just do half a chorus and then a full chorus out for the second chorus. You could do, after verse 2, you could, instead of having this pre here, you could do a bridge and then you could go to the chorus out, you know, it's up to you. But I think this is a pretty good arrangement for what this song is. And it's kind of unique, you know, in the fact that it has like a 6-bar section and then it goes to an 8-bar section and then a 2-bar pre-chorus to a chorus. You know, the chorus looks like it's going to be probably 8 bars, right? Yeah, 16 bars on the chorus, which is pretty long, but it's because we have that pickup, you know, the bum, bum. So even on the chorus, that could switch. And you can mess around with that kind of stuff by simply like taking this around the 8-bar loop right here and hitting like jump. You can jump the section. So this could be the 8-bar right here, and that could be your full chorus. Or you could do it with like 2 bars, 4-bar sections like this, right? And you could say like, oh, this is my chorus right here. I kind of like that better. Like I would take that, loop it, and then I would add the refrain at the end to end the chorus. So that would look like basically like this, right? So go Command A, and then I would just cut the section here, or I could just repeat it. So go to cut insert time, and then say copy section between locators, right? And then go here, and then you could paste it. Boom. Right? And now I have like this kind of idea and then bring this end part to the back of this. So now you got a perfect like little 8-bar chorus with like what an extra, you know, 3-bar or 2-bar. I would just take this, you know, this 2-bar phrase at the end here as a refrain. So you can add a tag or something, and then you can go into a post-chorus or go into verse 2. So it's up to you, however you want to do it. I think that's probably the most musical way for this kind of track. But yeah, do your arrangement, get it done. You got 48 hours, so really spend the time on it. Chisel it out, sing on top of it, make sure it's locked in. And then hopefully I'll see you on day 5, where we will start to get some melodies and we're going to just keep refining as we go. And, you know, you want to get this process down to where you can do this in 72 hours. You know, cut the full song, get everything done, dialed in, mixed, mastered, and put it in a folder or send it off to a sync rep, music supervisor, and start getting some placements, because that's the name of the game. Like, you can't be a perfectionist. Don't think, oh, I made it worse, I made it better, I made it worse, I made it worse. Who cares? It doesn't matter. Just go through the process, finish it, okay? And I'll see you on day 5.